My name is Megan Ross and I'm studying a Bachelor of Psychology at Monash University. I was on the VCE Honour Roll for Psychology, and today I'm going to go through the trans-theoretical model of behaviour change, also known as the Stages of Change model. So in this video, we're going to talk about what is this model, we're going to go through the different stages, and then we're going to go through the strengths and weaknesses. So to start off with, this model explains the stages people go through when they choose to change their behaviour to achieve a health-related goal. Now, this health-related goal may be something such as stopping smoking, or it may be to start exercising. Either way, it is a complex process which happens gradually over time where people go at their own pace. So this model is often used in the context of substance use and dependence, but as I said before, it can be broadened to things such as exercising. So it consists of 5 stages, which is precontemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. Now, I really like this diagram here. So instead of using a linear diagram, which goes step by step, we use this spiral here. Now, this really shows us how someone can start off here at pre-contemplation, they move up to contemplation, preparation, then action, but then they kind of start again, they relapse. So then they start off at pre-contemplation again and have to go through the full process again. It is very rare that someone will go step 1 to 5 and then will end up at termination. Instead, people often go through this process of starting and stopping. So the first stage is pre-contemplation. So this is where someone is not ready to change. They also have no intention to change within the next 6 months. So they may say something as, I have no intention to quit smoking, or I may have no intention to start exercising. So this is where someone really underestimates the benefits of change and overestimates the cost. So they may underestimate what stopping smoking will do for them and how it'll improve their health, and instead they overestimate how it's going to be a burden and how it's just going to be too hard. In this stage, people often try to defend their behaviour. So they say that smoking's really not that bad. I haven't died from it yet. Why is it going to kill me later? And people may not want to listen to others who try to convince them to change. So they may not want to listen to their family member or to their doctor who is saying smoking is really bad. For someone to be able to move to the next stage, they need to acknowledge that they have a problem and they need to have some motivation to change. So the next stage we have is contemplation. So this is where they are thinking about possibly changing their behaviour. They have mixed feelings about wanting to change. So this is where someone may start to think about it, but they definitely do not action it. They may start to think about the pros and cons of change. So they'll start to weigh up the costs of stopping smoking and the pros, but they may intend to take action within the next 6 months. And this is when they say, I may start to think about how to quit or how to start. So in the next 6 months, they might want to quit smoking, and they say something like, I'm going to think about quitting smoking in the next 6 months. So to move on to the next stage, so this is the preparation stage. So this is where someone is ready to change, and they have a commitment to change, and they intend to take action within the next 30 days. So they say something like, I'm going to quit smoking this month, and I'm starting to plan how to do it. So in this stage, the cons may still outweigh the pros, but they understand a change needs to occur. They understand that quitting smoking is really going to suck, and it's really going to be hard, but I need to do this. Someone may start to prepare in this stage with little steps. So for smoking, they may go from smoking 30 cigarettes to 25. They're taking little steps to make it easier for them. People are likely to move to the next stage once they have a plan set out and they know how to action it. So this leads us on to our action stage. So this is where someone is making the change. They may say something like, I have quit smoking or I've started exercising, and it is visible to the public. People know that they have made this change, and they must have made this change for less than 6 months. After the action stage comes our final stage. This is maintenance. So this is where someone has changed their behaviour for at least 6 months. So they have stopped smoking for 6 months, or they've been exercising regularly for 6 months, and they want to continue this behaviour. I will continue to not smoke. I will continue to exercise. So the focus in this stage is really to keep going. They want to avoid relapse. Now, if you don't know what a relapse is, so relapse is a full return to the original problem. There is also lapse, which is considered just a slip up. But yeah, relapse is that full return and they have to start again a bit. Now, I'm just going to go through a quick summary of this. So this is something I already talked about, so you may not need to listen to this, but this is just a full summary of what I've gone through. So pre-contemplation, not ready to change, has no intention to in the next 6 months, and they have no intention to start or quit. Contemplation, so this is when someone's getting ready to change, they intend to take action in the next 6 months, and they may start to think about doing something or stopping their behaviour. Preparation, so they're ready for change, they intend to take action in the next 30 days, and they will start or stop in the next month. The action stage, so making the change, they've made the change for less than 6 months, and they have started or stopped. Maintenance, on the other hand, is keeping with the change, and they have changed their behaviour for at least 6 months, and they will continue to maintain this behaviour. Now, hopefully this has helped you out, and this is a good page here to put into your notes for you to look back on at exam time. Now I'm going to go through our strengths and weaknesses. Now, to start off with our strengths, this model is useful in understanding behavioural change that is self-initiated or is recommended by a professional. So this really helps us to understand what process someone goes through when they are making the change themselves, and they aren't going through like a drug program or something where the change is being made for them in a way. This also treats it as a process rather than an event. So going back towards our spiral diagram, so it's treating it as something that is a bit fluid and is able to change instead of just starting and stopping. And this model does account for individual differences with allowing for setbacks as well. And it is supported by empirical research, so studies do generally support this. However, people argue that there is not enough research about the transition between stages. So there is a lack of evidence between the timeframes that are suggested, and there's a lack of evidence on what is a clear transition from stage 1 to stage 2, for example. And it does not account for the social and cultural context. So maybe someone only smokes when they're with their friends. This model does not account for that, and it doesn't account for the culture that someone comes from and how this may influence their behaviour.